Had one shot, one chance, one opportunity to make it as an undrafted free agent with the Cowboys. Shark Tank's a real deal. You walk out there, they only know your name. We probably 20x the business overnight. You know, that first couple of weeks or first month was more like 50x.
How about going to the University of Arizona and trying to be disciplined? Or like trying to, you're talking about one of the biggest party schools in the world with the most beautiful women in the world.
Welcome to Behind the Rise podcast, hosted by the Perina Brothers. My name is Angelo, and I'm joined by my brothers and business partners, Lucho and Valentino. On this show, we will speak to successful local, national, and global entrepreneurs, as well as discuss lessons we've learned in our 15-year career building a 9-figure organization. We're in the middle of our journey now and want to share with you all the wins, losses, lessons, and learned behind the rise. So everybody, we got a special guest today, a good friend of ours, Mr. Chris Gronkowski. Welcome to the show, Chris.
What's up, guys?
Great to see you, brother. So I'm going to give a quick little bio here about Chris. So Chris is a former NFL player turned entrepreneur. Chris is now the CEO of Ice Shaker. Chris is the middle of the 5 Gronkowski brothers, known as being a family of athletes. 4 brothers played in the NFL, and the oldest brother was drafted in the MLB, which is literally ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's absolutely. I went Division III, and he went Division 1A, and I thought we were like the cream of the crop. Chris attended University of Arizona and earned an accounting degree from Eller College of Management. He went on to play in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys, Indianapolis Colts, and Denver Broncos. In 2016, he put his entrepreneurial skills to test and started the company Ice Shaker. Ice Shaker is well known for appearing on ABC's Shark Tank and closing a deal with Mark Cuban and Alex Rodriguez. The company makes premium drinkware products to help you live an active and healthy lifestyle. So as I say that, let me take a sip out of my beautiful Ice Shaker bottle right here, where everything is staying cold and refreshing.
They are the best bottles on the planet, truly, unbiasedly. I was a client before I even became a friend. You can go out on like a 100 degree day and with like cold water in there and it'll stay cold. Doesn't matter the outside temperature.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. So when I actually left a bottle of, so if I know I'm going to the gym, right, and I have like a protein shake and I'm going to go into the gym, like I'll pre-shake it before, I'll leave it in my car and then drink it like later in the day. Like even if it's 100 degrees, if this,
still cold.
It stays like piping cold,
Piping cold?
Is piping cold a thing? Like very, very cold is basically what it comes down to. So Congrats, Chris. A great product. We love it. We're customers. We big fans.
I appreciate it, man. That's my new quote. Keeps your drink.
That's it. What, piping cold?
In a hot car.
You want to know one of the most low-key part of the product that's key that makes the whole thing? It's this. The handle.
Yeah.
It's the handle. Without the handles makes it so easy. And I love the half gallons. I'm a big half gallon guy.
Half gallons are legit, man, especially when it's really hot out like it is here in Texas now. And then you're going to leave the house for a while. Like you need the water. So half gallon's been big time for me, especially now that I'm coaching youth sports and I'm outside a lot more now.
Yeah, dude, great product and nice innovation on it too. So it's not just, you're having multiple product lines within the same genre, the same quality. I'm sure it's not easy to have developed that same quality, like the thickness of this product, like the durability into a half gallon size. So yeah, huge.
Been good, man.
So Chris, we're going to get into what it grew up, how it was growing up at like one of the most athletic families in U.S. history. So we're going to get into that. I've met your dad. We spent a weekend together before the Super Bowl in Tampa. He's an absolute stud, jacked. If we were talking about horse breeding, he'd probably be the stud I would breed with.
Yeah.
So like, is it nature or is it nurture? Like, how did that happen? Like, I know, I've heard legendary stories about the competitiveness and stuff, but why don't you give us a little insight of what it was like growing up as a Gronkowski brother?
Yeah, man. Mayhem is a good word to explain it. We had a house in which, well, first it was a small house. We all had to split bedrooms. We all had bunk beds. Looking back on it, man, like little tiny rooms where you just walk in, there's a bunk bed and one dresser. That was it. But we didn't know any different, man. It was awesome for us. We'd fight over the top bunk. We had absolutely no decorations in our house. Like growing up, I didn't realize that until like I went over to other people's houses and, there was stuff hung on the wall and, there was nice end tables. and all kinds of decorations throughout the house. We had nothing. Like, we had a couch and a TV, and that was it, because everything else was either turned into a weapon or was broken at that point. So that's kind of how it was, man. Like, all day, every day, we competed in everything from, backyard baseball. We made up games in our basement, just on a cement floor. We put up wooden boards to check each other through the boards. We competed over who could eat more. When we started getting to the age where we could lift, it was all about, who could lift more, who was faster, who was stronger. So all day, every day became a competition, not just between the 5 brothers, but also between all of our friends as well. We kind of had this really cool neighborhood where everyone on the street kind of had a son around our same age. And, in Buffalo, like, there's no fences. You just walk in between yards. You kind of just meet up. You start, playing tag, playing backyard football, playing really anything. And you just walk over to your neighbor's house anytime and just start playing. So we always had us 5 brothers, but then also, like, 3, 4, 5, 6 friends over as well. So if you couldn't beat your older brother, you try to beat your older brother's friends in everything they did. And then, of course, everything kind of became a brawl at the end of the day. You just fought if you won, and you fought if you lost. Like, no matter what happened, it was kind of like, we're going to fight no matter what at the end of the game. So absolute mayhem.
That's awesome.
I don't know how my parents did it, but somehow kind of survived all that and just made us tougher and made us highly competitive in everything we did.
So where did, was your dad an athlete? Like, did he put it in, like, maybe like Gordy, because he was the oldest, right? Like, did he put it in him, like, in sports, and everyone kind of just followed in line, or was he pushing him at a young age? Like, how did that happen?
My dad played college football, so he played at the University of Syracuse. He kind of got a chance to play as a scrub player. He signed a contract that he used to hang on the wall. He used to hang it on the wall in his office. He was super proud of it. I think he signed a 1-week contract with the Bills at one point. And
That's awesome.
Ever since all of the brothers made it to the league, I've never seen that contract ever again hanging on his wall. But he did. He played college football. He was a lineman. He was an offensive guard. Back then, he was big at 6'3", 280. And he was benching a house. I think he was benching in the 500s when he was playing.
Wow.
So just a beast back in the day. But man, for him, like, and for all of us, it was more like hockey and baseball were what we started with. Our parents put us into those sports, and after that, it was kind of up to us what we wanted to do. Football was never a thing until high school. Gord never played. My dad didn't force us to play football. We weren't this big football family. We didn't grow up playing Pee-wee or anything like that. So my brother Dan was an absolute beast. He was 6'6", 235 in high school, and he was pretty much forced by all the coaches and kids in his high school to play football. And he went in and started playing as the starting quarterback. And after I saw him play, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I wanted to play football as well. And then it kind of just went from there. So Dan started it all. I started playing. Rob started playing. Youngest brother started playing. Kind of all just went from there.
That's awesome. Now, how about, like, as students? Was, like, any one of you guys, like, a straight A guy, or you just making it through, or, like, how was academics?
Yeah, it was a mix. We have a great mix in the family. So our parents did put a big emphasis on school. We actually weren't allowed to go outside and play sports or play games or do anything really when we got home from school until we finished our schoolwork for the day. So that was my mom. She really did a great job of making sure that everything got done. So it started with Gord. He was not an A student by any means. Dan was an A+ student. He went on to get his master's in college. I think he was one of the first or maybe the only football player at the University of Maryland to get their master's degree while they're still playing, which is pretty cool to see. I was pretty much a straight A student as well. I'm most famous for going to an official visit to the University of Buffalo, partying until 2 in the morning, and I think it was more like 4 in the morning, taking the SAT at 7 a.m. and missing one question on the math. I ended up getting a 790 out of 800 on the math section.
Oh,
What?
shit, dude.
After pretty much doing probably at least 10 keg stands. So pretty
Dude,
impressive.
what the hell is that?
To be transparent, we are not A students on
No,
this side of the
no,
table.
Yeah.
We're not.
Just
We're
had
the
a
BC
good
guys.
memory. But yeah, I had the opportunity to go Ivy League. My dad was super excited about it. It was kind of his way to prove to the world that his sons weren't just dumb jocks. So I was going to the University of Penn. I got accepted in the Wharton Business School and ended up passing that up for a full scholarship to the University of Maryland. So after me, you have Rob. I call him people smart. Definitely not book smart, but people smart for sure. One of the most impressive things I still think is the fact that he had millions of dollars at the age of 20, and to be able to control yourself and really manage that and make the decisions that he made at that age takes a lot of skill. Takes just being extremely smart, and he's really good with people and with money and making great decisions on and off the field. So I give him more of the common sense people smart over the book smart. But then we had Glenn, who had 2 degrees in college and very, very smart as well. So everyone kind of calls Glenn and I twins. We have a lot of similar tendencies.
That's awesome. That's a great. You would never know. I mean, I know you guys are all smart guys, so I've talked to each one of you guys individually, but just to academically like that, dude, that's ridiculous. Getting one question wrong in the SATs on math,
That's
like,
especially math.
That's like fucking, Goodwill Hunting shit. Like that's like ridiculous.
You just need to do 10 keg stands and then go. And
Yeah, that was like the Adderall.
Dude, I remember I had like a tutor for like 6 months, like coming to the house every day, and I think I got like a 420 or something on the math.
So, Chris, question. So when you were growing up, what were your parents doing for work? Like, were they entrepreneurs or were they just, working hard citizens of Buffalo?
Yeah, so my mom probably had the hardest job ever. I call it running a full-time business, which was feeding us, getting us to school, getting us to every single practice, which actually wasn't even physically possible. So she had to make a full calendar. And then, the crazy part is like when you actually think about it, you didn't have a cell phone or GPS back then. So she had to pick up the regular phone, call a neighbor, call a coach, call a friend and just say like, hey, Chris has 2 practices today. I can't get him to him. I'll trade you one son of mine for one of yours, and I'll drive him if you could drive mine. And she had to do this with 5 kids, which is absolutely insane. We didn't go out to eat. It was actually pretty much impossible to go out to eat with 5 boys because we were out of control. So she cooked. She made every single meal as well. And then, she was on top of us, making sure we got our homework done and all that. So after the 3rd kid, my mom had to stop working. So after me, she gave up working. Still helped out my dad with his business, but my dad was working full-time business at an oil company in Buffalo. And then for 6 years, he did that while starting his other business as well, selling fitness equipment. So got to watch my dad start a business from the ground up, one store, bring it up to 15 different locations. And, we grew up helping him pack the trucks, deliver fitness equipment, and do whatever we could to help back then. So it was pretty cool times, but definitely challenging times for my parents as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask about that. So was it always Gronk Fitness? From when your dad started it?
So we started it's still G&G Fitness, and Gronk Fitness is a branch of it. So he started it over 30 years ago, and it was G&G. It was him and his brother. His brother ended up stepping away, I think, about a year and a half into it. But it was distributing fitness equipment. The business started because he wanted quality fitness equipment for his 5 boys. He went locally in Buffalo, New York, to try to find Olympic grade fitness equipment. He wanted a bench that would actually last for himself, but also his 5 kids. And after searching everywhere, he had to drive over 6 hours to New Jersey to buy commercial grade fitness equipment. And at that point, he realized that there was an opportunity for it. He opened up his first store in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I know entrepreneurship, is in your blood, right? I mean, you saw your dad doing it growing up, and it's really something. Even when I talked to Gordy, like we spent a lot of time talking with Gordy, you can see that he was, you don't learn that stuff like in school. Like that's kind of like born and not born with it, but you're exposed to it at an early age. And you could tell he's got a high business IQ, and I'm sure that, we obviously know that you have that as well. So it looks like that was, and that's similar to our story too. Like we grew up in an entrepreneur household. Like our parents were entrepreneurs growing up. So we were exposed to that lifestyle early. Like you guys were all helping your parents load the trucks and help at the stores. So, you get it, like you understand like what it's like. And for a lot of people, you don't realize because it's second nature to you, but a lot of people, it's just really a foreign way of life, So to be exposed to that at an early age is a blessing, I think, for a lot of people.
For sure. You don't realize it at the time, but I didn't see it that way, but looking back on it definitely helped and really came into play when I got into business myself and started growing and having questions and trying to figure out how to scale and solve a lot of problems. My dad became kind of that ultimate mentor for me. He tried to be the ultimate mentor right out the gate, but unfortunately, I didn't listen to anything he said for about the first 3 years. And then at that point, I crawled back to him at year 3 and asked him every question I possibly could. And he really helped me take the business to the next level.
That's similar to us too. Like our dad was like still is our mentor. And we've made a ton of mistakes that looking back, if we just listened to him in the beginning,
preventable.
I mean, we would be in a much better spot or further along. I mean, I could tell you a million times, like we would shoot for the moon right away, and he'd be like, you got to start with your foundation and then go from there. But so many things that we should have, like, I guess that's just the way of life though. You got to smack your head sometimes before you actually learn. Yeah. But anyway, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have that. So, at what point did you get the idea for Ice Shaker? Obviously, fitness is like an important thing for you. Like, did you see a need like in the marketplace, see a need that you were just looking for on your own? Kind of tell us the inspiration behind the product.
Yeah, for sure. So I was done playing in the NFL. I was here in Dallas. It's hot, man. It's been hot this summer, kind of a summer like this in 2016 where I went to the gym. It was over 100 degrees outside. By the time I got there, I had a plastic shaker. It was sweating. I took a sip of it. It was warm, tasted awful. And, at that time, like insulated bottles were taking off. Yeti was coming out, like they were exploding on the scene. Hydro Flask had been around. And I used the products. Like I used them at work, but I had to go home and I had to get a different bottle because there was nothing that would actually blend or mix powders. You would take this, insulated cup that had a hole that was tiny and you'd need like a funnel to fill it. And then, you would shake it, but there's nothing to actually blend up the powders. So it was all chunky. And then you'd have to sit there with like a special brush trying to clean it. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. Someone has to have made a shaker bottle that's actually insulated. But when I went home, I figured like every other good idea you have, man, like it was going to already be there. But I was shockingly, it wasn't. I jumped on Amazon, wasn't there, wasn't on Google. There was nothing out there that was actually insulated that was made to blend or mix powder. So that's when it started. Started making prototypes. Did whatever I could with my current manufacturers to get something to me. It took about 6 months to make it, and I ordered about 10,000 bottles to start with, and it just became this side hustle out of the upstairs of my house.
Wow. So first, okay, so you came up with the idea, right? You saw that there was a need. You tested the product yourself. It would have to be perfect for what you were looking to do. And then you ordered 10,000 bottles in inventory before you sold anything, right? So like you order them, and it's like, let's go and try to sell these puppies.
Yep. And that was, when my dad stepped in, was like, you didn't realize like 10,000 is a lot of product, right? And of course, I was like, man, I'll sell that in like a month. And it got there. No business plan, no marketing plan, no employees, absolutely nothing. Built a website and had Amazon, and that was pretty much it. And I think I sold probably 2 or 3 bottles the first week. Made some social posts, thought people would just jump on board because they would see it like I saw it. And, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And, didn't realize that it takes a lot more than that, building something from the ground up. You have to have customers that, leaving reviews. You have to have some kind of product out there and trust in the marketplace. And, when you start fresh, you have absolutely nothing. So realized really quickly that it was going to be a lot harder than I thought it was. And at that point, it just became, straight hustle mode, doing shows, asking friends and families to purchase and leave reviews. If they wouldn't purchase, I just send them Venmo and have them purchase and leave a review anyways. I would go on to Amazon and just study all the other listings to figure out why they were the first listing. When you typed in shaker bottle or protein shaker, and I'd go to other categories and do the same thing and see why those were popping up there and see what they were doing, keyword based and photo based and video based, and try to do something similar. And In the first 3 months, I was able to build it up to about $25,000 in sales just from doing shows and getting to. I got up to about the third spot under shaker bottle on Amazon. Just by kind of mimicking and seeing what other listings were doing with keywords and photos. So had that. At that point, I thought I had a proof of concept, and I reached out to Shark Tank to see if I could get on the show. And I was lucky enough to get a response back, and they asked for a video submission at that point. So made a video. It was absolutely ridiculous. I'm ripping off my shirt, just clipping in touchdowns that I caught, and just anything I could possibly think of that I thought was entertaining enough to be in the video. I threw in there and submitted the video, and was lucky enough to have them reach me back and say that they wanted to bring me on to the next steps.
That's awesome. So you went on to, when you submitted that photo, were you were still in proof of concept mode? Like you were still at
25,000 in sales.
Okay, that's when you were in like the very beginning. So took a shot. So little side note, we actually almost got onto Shark Tank one time. Was probably around the same time.
Yeah.
2016.
Yeah, it was 2016. We might have been on the same thing potentially. So we had this marinara sauce, which was legendary, and it was almost the same thing that you just said. Like we thought, as soon as we release this thing, it's going to be like
lights out.
Lights out. Yeah. It was like we kept it like hidden, like nobody could know about it because it was like a unique thing where where it was like the base tomato sauce, and on top was all the ingredients: olive oil, basil, parsley, garlic, all that stuff. So then when you go home, step one, you put the ingredients in.
It was a kit,
and then you finish cooking it. And the sauce was literally like
the best,
dude. Like we still use it to this day at my mother's house.
We'll send you a jar. I have some downstairs.
We still have like a couple bottles floating around from then, So we flew out to Chicago, went, stood in line, dude, there was like thousands and thousands.
It was me and Angie.
Me and him went. We pitched them, right? Then they called us like a month later, like to our surprise.
No, it was like 6 months later.
Yeah, a while later, whatever. They called us, and then we had to submit videos, and then we kept submitting videos every week. And then we got picked to go on the show. We were like, holy shit.
It went from like 50,000 applicants. Okay, then you get to like 20,000. You submit another video, 10,000, submit another video, 1,000. And we're like, holy shit, this is actually going down. Then we sent something else, 500. We're like, oh God. Then they gave us a Shark Tank coach, right?
Yeah,
Remember
we had a coach that was like, we would talk to, because like our pitches are terrible. Like,
forget what the fuck.
It was so bad, dude, on camera. Like, so bad. It was so bad.
And then it went from 250 to 100. Then they said, okay, you're picked. You're going to be leaving in September. We're going to book your flights, whatever. And our coach was excited, and we're all kind of excited. A week before we were supposed to leave, at this point we're panicking. We're trying to like figure out what we're going to say.
Oh yeah, I'm doing like push-ups. I got to lose weight.
Yeah, we don't know our numbers. We're like, we're going to get roasted.
We're going to get torn. And we're like, Mark Cuban's going to rip our asses apart.
What's our cost? Yeah, we just started this thing. Were we even in stores yet?
Yeah.
We were?
We were in a few. They were like, yeah, your margins, you're not making a fucking, you're making 1 cent per bottle.
We probably had like 80,000 in sales total. And no margins, losing money. Like our numbers were terrible.
No plan.
And then all of a sudden, a week before we're supposed to leave, the guy calls us and says, hey, you guys got cut. The Sharks decided to cut 10 more applicants because they wanted to keep the season shorter. And we were part of that.
Well, they said they cut a day of production is what they said. And then we got cut. Nice way of saying you're out, basically. So that was it. So then we kept the company going for another like year, and then we started Nutre, and then stopped that to focus on Nutre. But bottom line is we almost made it. We could have been on the same episode.
Man.
Tell us like
been friends back then,
huh? Dude, maybe they could have done a brothers episode, like you guys,
right?
Like we could have been like the appetizer before the main entree.
But I have a question before you get more into that. When you had 25,000 in sales, because in that business of like ice shaker bottles and anything, it's all shipping. Were you taking orders manually and shipping it out yourself?
So we were taking them through our website, and then I was manually fulfilling at that time through Amazon as well. So yeah, I was come home at night and ship them out of the upstairs of my house. That's pretty much what I was doing.
No stores, no like retail stores. It was all direct to consumer.
No, absolutely no retail at all. Yeah, I didn't have any retail accounts until after Shark Tank.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you go onto the show. I saw the episode. It was awesome. You guys are like incredibly entertaining, you know?
Yep.
So what was it like the actual filming of the show? Like, how long was the pitch? You know, how was it like being with those guys? Like, was it nerve-wracking? Like, how real is it from what we see on TV to actual?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, Shark Tank's a real deal. You walk out there, they only know your name, your first name only. That's it. They don't know the name of the company. They know nothing about the company. They hid my brothers in the back room. Like they didn't want any of the staff to know that they were even there because they didn't want the buzz of them being there to get to the Sharks. So the pitch itself, you have 2 minutes, for the initial, and then you open it up to questions for the Sharks. And when you do that, like they hit you with everything. Like it's not what you see on the show. It's the boring questions that they actually need to know themselves to invest in your company. So. They hit me on everything from what I did before college, how I got through college, how did I have money in college, what I did afterwards for the first 5 years, what my family does, where I went to school, what I went to school for. Like they really wanted to know everything about me. And, when it comes down to it, like they're putting their real money into it. And what they're really putting into it that's more valuable than the money is their time, because they do have to do the due diligence. They have to break it down and make sure that everything you said on the show was legit. They have to put their lawyers, bring their lawyers in and write contracts up. And we had to convert to a C Corp. And, it took months after we actually filmed the show to close the deal. So the amount of time and effort that's put in by the Sharks is really the reason that they want to make sure that they're investing in something that's actually legit, that's going to make them some money. So, but yeah, man, overall, like the show itself is legit. The concept, like it's not just BS. They're not bringing people on there and just giving them offers, The traffic's real. Afterwards, you get seen by 5 million people at one time. The spike in sales is massive. The exposure is absolutely huge. We had 80,000 in sales when we got on the show at the 6 month point. We did over 3 million over the next 12 months. So the spike
wow
in the show.
Were you ready for that going in? Did you have like a huge inventory, or you were back ordered for a while?
So what happens too, and while I was a big fan of the show, and I'd always sit there and wonder why people would sell out of stock. But they only give you 2 weeks notice if you're going to air or not. Luckily enough for me, I pretty much knew I was going to air no matter what, because my brothers came in on the episode, and I knew that they wanted more exposure, and they knew that my brothers came on, that NFL fans and sports fans and other people would watch the show as well. So some people film, they don't know if they're going to actually air or not. When they do know they're going to air, it's 2 weeks before, so they can't stock up an inventory. The second I closed that deal, I went home that day and I ordered new inventory. So I ended up filming in June. I think we aired in October, and the new product literally came the week before.
That's
we
awesome.
aired. So I got the new stuff, new style, new bottles in stock right before we aired, which was absolutely huge. So we sold through all of our old stock, our original version of the bottle, which was amazing to get rid of like those first 10,000 that I ordered. Then brought in the newer version, and I did all this out of my own pocket too. So the investment hadn't come through yet. I had to put all my own money in. I wanted to make sure I had inventory ready to go. I didn't want to miss the big moment. So I put all this money into it myself. I ended up putting about $250,000 into it before the Shark actually invested. And then, the other thing that you see is that, these massive sales come in and everyone thinks you're kind of just chilling, man. Like you're just enjoying it. But, with that, we probably 20X the business overnight. That first couple of weeks or first month was more like a 50X. And with that, like it was still out of the upstairs in my house at that time. So it wasn't like this big business where I had a bunch of employees that were ready to go. It was like friends and family helped me pack boxes and pre-pack boxes. And then we just slapped labels on and did whatever we could to survive for a month. And it just, went from there, man. Then it was, now we got to find a place. Now we got to find employees. Now we got to get new products. Now we got to get into retail, and all this kind of just all happened and was accelerated over, really over a month period. And with that, like I didn't take any money out of the company. So my first 2.5 years in the company, we were profitable since day one. I mean, the show makes you profitable, and I was already profitable going on to the show because I wasn't spending any marketing dollars for the most place. I was just hustling everything. But 2.5 years was the first time I took a penny back. So I've been just grinding for 2.5, down $250,000, and living off my wife's salary up until that point. So as awesome as the show is, the true entrepreneurs that are early on, that are really trying to grow the business, are still, even with the show, you're still going to be grinding it out for a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point right there. A lot of people don't, in entrepreneurship, right? Like, you are the last one to get paid. And I know we've talked about this before on the show, but that's the point right there. When you're truly growing something that you want to be there for the long term, you're putting every dollar back in, and you are literally the last one to take any money out, and it's like a privilege to get to that point, to be actually be able to start taking, money out. It takes stability. You need to have enough, money in the, in the account to cover any bullshit that might go on. You need to be able to hire employees. And then at some point, hopefully down the road, luckily, if everything goes well, you're able to start taking some of your initial investment back. I mean, the $250 you put in, that doesn't count the 2.5 years of time, right?
Exactly.
That you could have, that you would have been paid if you were working a regular job somewhere, So like,
Sure.
That's the big sacrifice in entrepreneurship that makes, the victory when you start to have success so sweet, and makes it so worth it down the road.
And the other thing he mentioned was like being profitable since day one. So a question I always wanted to ask was, how did you figure out how to price the product? Because I remember with us, with the sauce, we always went back and forth. Like, do we make it more premium? Do you make it a little more than the rest, and why? And like, how do you justify it? So for you, what made you go with the price point that you're at? Because of what I know, I think it's a little bit more of a premium compared to the rest. I think it is the most premium, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, in the shaker bottle world, we are, but it's because you're comparing it to, plastic shaker bottles for the most part. If you compare us to a Yeti, we're significantly cheaper. So we kind of came in the middle. I started pricing things, at the beginning, it was kind of a guessing game. I had no clue what I was doing. After I kind of learned what I was doing and how to actually run a business, I started running a Keystone markup. So if I was going to get it for $7.50, I was going to wholesale it for $15, and they were going to retail it for $30. So kind of times it by 4, whatever your cost is. And then I realized, if you really want to be successful, you have to have a little bit more in there for certain programs that you're going to want to throw, or, bring in certain reps. And, retail is going to absolutely crush you with different programs and sales and all that kind of stuff as well. So, if you want to be successful, if you want to be a premium brand and you want to be, in retail as well, you got to give yourself a little bit more than a Keystone markup. So if you could get to 80 margin, that was kind of ideal. So we kept adding different features and changing different things to try to get it up a little bit more, so that we'd have a little bit more room to do some more programs.
Yeah, that's a great point. Your margin, pricing and margin, to be able to, people think, oh, it costs you this much, you're selling it for that much, but you need to have that margin in there for different programs, like you said, in retail, which is like a whole nother animal, slotting fees, all that stuff. And to be able to pay all that overhead and sales reps and all that. So it's not what, people think it might be from the outside. And like, true entrepreneurship, you have to have that, to have a successful business long-term, you need to have that margin in.
Right.
100%.
Can you talk a little bit about like the road to retail? Like essentially like what made you get into it? And then when you did get into it, how was that process? Because I know there's like distributors and all sorts of different questions that go into it.
Yeah, for sure. I'll hit on your kind of just the margin point a little bit more, and I'll jump into that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of times we'll get hit with like, hey, like you're selling direct to consumer as well, and making all this margin there, which sometimes you think is the better route. So I tried to keep it that way. I felt like retailers, selling it wholesale was kind of just a waste of 50%, right? Giving them this massive discount. But as I got into business and I really started to learn more and figure it out, I realized that there's a huge acquisition cost for each customer when you're selling directly to a customer. And we're selling a $30, $35 product, and our acquisition cost is, if we're doing really well, it might be $20. If we're not doing really well, we might be paying 30, 35 on a product that costs, that we're selling at 30 or $35 plus our cost. So
wow.
you're getting crushed there. And what you're doing there is you're trying to provide great service so that they come back and buy more for themselves or for a friend or family member. Or you're trying to get them to come back on customization or new products that come out. So, it's kind of a game where it started to make more sense to then push into retail and use your retailers as an acquisition tool instead. So that's kind of when I started to push into retail and realize that I could sell this bottle, instead of selling it for 30, I could sell it for 15, but I have guaranteed money there. I have guaranteed, $7.50 there. Whereas if I'm selling it direct to consumer, it might cost me $30 to get that consumer. And I'm essentially making zero on that first sale. So that's when we started to push into retail. It started with GNC. I was lucky enough to have Mark Cuban's team connect me with GNC. Worked through a deal with them. They helped me negotiate it. I had no clue what I was doing. They helped me kind of write up the contract and what to look for, on fees and, just all kinds of different things, shipping, development fees, returns, all that kind of stuff that I just had no clue about. And, without them on my team, I would have got smoked on my first deal that I did. So pushed into GNC first. We did well there, started reaching out to other retailers. We got on with Vitamin Shop next, and then started getting into some of the gyms like Lifetime Fitness, more recently 24 Hour Fitness, and got into Walmart as well. We're in half the Walmarts, and then recently I've started doing more grocery. So we just launched with Sprouts and all the Sprouts locations this month actually. So retail still isn't huge. We do sell a lot of wholesale to smaller mom and pops like nutrition shops and CrossFit gyms and stuff like that. But a bulk of our stuff now is really more corporate. We have the ability to laser engrave. So we can make items for really any event. It could be a golf event. It could be a rally for some employees. It can be customer gifts. It could really come down to anything a bottle can be used for. So we do a lot of different corporate events now at this point as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. So actually this one right here was given to us as a gift from our friends over at Evo Boston.
And then
Thank you.
Nutra had it too. I think that was a huge, I wouldn't say maybe even an unlock for you guys. What made you say, okay, let's go into the customization game? Because again, it's a whole different game, and it opens up a whole new world of, again, like this more gifting corporate companies like Nutra. Because I know we ordered, I think, like 150 or 200 or something.
For sure.
What got you guys into that?
So it was the business that I was doing with my wife before this. So for 5 years, we were doing customized gifts. It was something that she started when I was still playing in the NFL. And when I stopped playing, I joined her for 5 years, and we built it up to a point where I was making more money than my NFL career was. So very successful business as well. Learned really quickly that if you can personalize a gift and get it out the door quickly, people really appreciated it, and they would organically tell friends. They would order again when they were stuck and needed a gift at the last minute. And we did really, really well with pretty much no marketing spend at all, just because we delivered such a good service and a good product. So we took that same mentality into Ice Shaker and just said, let's try it. Let's see how it goes. I really didn't know how far it would reach. I didn't realize how popular bottles were in this kind of promo corporate space, but found out really quickly that they're used for almost every event. Like there's some kind of bottle in pretty much every gift bag that you get when you go to an event. So it quickly became a huge revenue source for us, and we're doing thousands of custom bottles at this point a week.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. And then because it's also a logistics game. Think about that. You have to create a tech system or like a website that can take in these logos and these engravings and the color schemes and all that, and then it has to go straight to the engraver, like wherever that is, whether it's in the States or outside the States. That's like a pretty complex process.
And we're doing it ourselves as well. So we call it customization. So yeah, it's almost two businesses in one. You could almost break it out like that, but no other companies for the most part want to take that on, because it's kind of like a completely separate business that you're running. So because we do it, we control it, we get it out quick. And so a lot of our orders are going out same day, next day, within 3 to 5 business days. And we can do thousands of bottles same week at this point. So it's a huge advantage, especially because people love to wait till the last minute. and then scramble for a gift idea or something to hand out to customers or employees or at an event. So a lot of times we'll get an email on a Monday saying I have an event on a Friday. That Friday, can I get some items? And the fact that we can get them to them wins us so many orders and wins us so much repeat business as well.
Yeah, that's a great niche.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, again, that's how Nutre became a client. And that's how I know like ANC Peter, we're very, very close with him. I know he slings a ton, and a lot of it's because of the branding and the different variety and colored bottles. I know there's like Army, there's so many color variations, which is, again, it's huge. To have that customization is huge.
Absolutely. It's been a huge game changer for us, for sure.
I got a question real quick about Shark Tank. When they run reruns, do you see like automatic hits, like orders when reruns run? Because I literally watch the reruns all the time.
Yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So
Yeah, exactly.
There's times where I'll just go on our website and I'm like, what happened today? And it's 3,000-4,000 hits to our website. It's probably similar to Amazon as well. And people are watching the rerun. They're seeing it. They're going. A lot of times they're more curious just to see like, hey, is this company still up? Are they still running? Let's kind of see where they're at today. But it does drive sales as well, and it drives a lot of sales. And a lot of times it actually drives people to the site who get interested and then buy later as well. So we love Shark Tank reruns. We get rerun probably more than anyone because we actually have an update as well. At 1 year into it, we had a 1 year update on how Ice Shaker was doing. And because of that, we now have 2 reruns. So we have the initial airing, and then we have the update re-air as well that hits as well. So the initial one always does better. The re-air generates probably about half as many views as that initial show that we did. So that the follow-up show does about half as much.
That's awesome.
And then you had Mark and A-Rod, you said, right?
Yep, Mark and A-Rod invested in the company. We had offers from all 5, close with Mark and A-Rod, and then Mark is still a part of the company, and Alex was bought out by my brother Rob about 2 years into it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Did you go in there knowing that you wanted to be with Mark? And what was the deal, by the way? Like, what were you looking for?
Yes,
and was it the deal that you want?
Yeah, I was asking for $1 million evaluation at that time. We had about 80,000 in sales, and we were 6 months into it. So, didn't know if I'd get $1 million. Ended up getting that valuation. Ended up closing the deal at 15% for $150K with the 2 sharks. But yeah, I definitely wanted Mark. And then Alex was just kind of this big question mark. This was 2017. He was kind of like blackballed from the MLB still at that point. And
Right.
Yeah.
he was doing like he was this real estate company, I guess, and that was kind of like the only information that you could find out about him. And it was the first time he was going to be on the show, so it wasn't like I could go back and get a read on him based on past episodes. It was a complete guess with having him come on board.
I see. Yeah, that's right. I mean, at that time, right, 2000, he was like you said, blackballed at that time, right? Was he still playing, or was he retired?
No, he was retired at that point. It was kind of right before he started really rebuilding his brand and his image.
Yeah.
So it was kind of at his lowest point. And then, that kind of brought him back alive. Then he started announcing, and he started dating J-Lo, and, he really brought himself back for sure. And that was helping the company as well. And at that same time, Rob retired and wanted to get more into the business world and thought it would be a good idea to, get some shares in Ice Shaker, which was a very good idea. And he's done really well on his investment.
Yeah, that's awesome. Speaking of Rob retiring, you retired, left us, right? And then went to Tampa and just cleaned it up, right? Like, what a move that was. Better weather, went with Tom.
Think about that.
I'd like to get the details behind the scenes, but I won't put you on the spot for that. But, what the hell? I was so disgusted at the time as a fan, but...
I don't think he could survive, man. I mean, it's the Belichick way. I played for 4 different organizations, and every organization I went into that had veteran players, they gave them days off. Like, they took care of their vets. And when you play in the Patriot way, no matter how many injuries you have, you're treated the same way. It doesn't matter what age you are, how many injuries you have. Bill's going to treat you like you're a rookie as well, and everyone's going to be treated the same way. So obviously it's worked. obviously, you leave and you have a lot of respect for Bill when you leave, but when you're there as an older player, it's a beatdown, man. And when you have 8-9 surgeries and you're in your 9th year, it's tough to keep on going.
That's a great point. I didn't realize that was a thing. But I remember even when I played in college on my senior year, I'm not even going to practice anymore. Like I'm just going to show up on the Friday walkthrough and then playing the game on Saturday. And that was a senior in Division III college. I couldn't imagine being like a Hall of Fame tight end at the end of the career, after all those surgeries. I'd be like, dude,
especially being as good as he was. You're talking about
dude, come on,
generational player. I mean, it's a real deal.
I mean, the playbook hadn't changed either. It wasn't like he's going in there like, oh, I need to get on the same page with my new quarterback. These guys.
Yeah, exactly.
These guys are 8 years in, man. You don't need to practice full pads on a Wednesday, and guys didn't. When I was with the Chargers, Antonio Gates isn't out there on a Wednesday, full pads going hard, blocking on the line. Man, he's taking the day off, or he's running out there. He's catching a few pat and goes, and he's hanging out. So you just can't recharge, and you can't get healthy when you're taking that kind of a beating every day. No matter what you do in the off season, especially later on in his career, Rob 100% focused on getting as healthy as he could in the offseason. Obviously, that wasn't the case early on, but later in his career, that was a huge focus of his with massages and treatments and really eating the right way, eating the best he could. He's doing some of the TB12 stuff to really take himself to that next level and come in as healthy as he possibly could be. But it doesn't matter. Football it's an absolute beatdown, and you can't protect yourself when you're blindsided. You can't protect yourself from taking shots to the knees, unfortunately. So, you're going to get beat up no matter what, no matter who you are, and you need time to recover and rest.
Speaking of that, Chris, talk a little bit about your college career in football and then your NFL career. I mean, there's sports and business. There is some sort of correlation. It does build these habits, this competitive nature, this kind of go-getter, self-sustainable mentality. Talk a little bit about how your college career went, and then how it transitioned to your professional career.
For sure, yeah. I was always the underdog. Smallest in my family, shortest. Had to be the strongest kind of guy. Just put in the work all day, every day. So I got a last-minute scholarship to the University of Maryland. I played, I redshirted, and I played a season, and just felt like I was never really supposed to be there. Head coach walked by me in the hallway and would turn his head the other way. And I'm like, man, that's messed up. So
that was the worst feelings.
Was backup. I was a goal line fullback, so I was the second string fullback at the time. I missed one practice. My coach told me I'd never play for him again. And at that point, I decided to transfer and try to find a better opportunity for myself. So went to the University of Arizona. Rob came a semester later. I tried out for the baseball team. I played one season. We were preseason #1 in the nation. I had zero chance of playing on that team. Rode the bench for a season and got back to football once I was eligible again. And went in there thinking I'd play fullback and maybe get a couple plays a game. After the first game, I played about 12 to 15 snaps and had a great game. The next game, I was playing 30 snaps. The next game, I was playing 40 snaps. And all of a sudden, I had a chance to actually go to the next level and play at the NFL level. So never thought it would actually happen. Still thought there was no chance for me. So tried to get the best degree I could. Figured I'd get a free college out of it at least. I got into the business school. I was one of 2 football players in the entire business school. And I got an accounting degree thinking, at least I'll have something, believing that could make me a decent amount of money. And with summer school that we had to take, I'd have close to 150 credits coming out of college, and I could apply for the CPA exam and possibly do that and make some good money. So that was kind of my plans, man. Had one shot, one chance, one opportunity to make it as an undrafted free agent with the Cowboys. Ended up making it, starting that season, catching a touchdown my first game, and was lucky enough then to start for 2 other teams, and walked out of the NFL 4 years into it, pension, retirement, not a millionaire by any means, but a good chunk of money in my bank account that then allowed me to start my own business. So the things you learn are, you learn that grit, man, that hard work. You learn how to wake up early, put your time in, mentally really grind it out as well. And you take that into the business world, and the everyday skills of catching a pass and hitting guys are completely worthless But that mental game, that mental toughness that you learned is invaluable to allow you to go into business and just, take an absolute beating, especially at the beginning, and then just keep fighting back.
Dude, to make a roster on an NFL team is ridiculous.
Especially as like a fullback tight end hybrid. You know, like there's a
underdog style. Like to make a team, dude, is like I think sometimes like the third string D lineman on Alabama, right, is like 6'6", like
runs
monster,
like a 4'4",
right, and like they're not getting drafted, like they're not making teams, like so like if you look around, like all these like studs and like not many of them make it, like only a few, select few. So to make a roster for 4 years, dude, is an incredible achievement.
53
or how about going to the University of Arizona and trying to be disciplined, or like trying to like you're talking about one of the biggest party schools in the world with the most beautiful women in the world at that age, playing at that stage.
I love how like that's where your mind goes right away.
Dude.
Like, I didn't even think about that for a second.
Yeah,
but
how did we
University of
we took a
Arizona.
turn.
You haven't. This is the biggest party school, the best looking girls on the
that's not where
planet.
the first place
It is
I
a
went.
fact. It's definitely a fact.
That's
kudos
facts,
there.
though, man. That's facts. You got to get through that too. I mean, I tell people all the time. I mean, a lot of it too is I was one of the last to survive, man. Like as an NFL player, the talent gets weeded out pretty quickly just from high school because they can't make grades. You've got to make it to college. You're not like an NBA player or an MLB player where you can get drafted, right to the league. So you got to go to college. So you have to get into college. You have to pass the SAT. You have to have the grades to get in. Once you get there, you got to go to class. Like you actually have to pass and get through that as well because you got to be in school for at least 3 years to make it to the NFL to be eligible for the draft. And then from there, man, it's injuries. It's injuries. People get hurt every single day in their season ending. Their season is over, and then sometimes their career is over as well. And then the last thing that a lot of people don't see, and it comes into effect, man, big time when you get to the NFL. But you see a guy that goes first round. He's a first round talent, and he never plays in the NFL. And everyone sits there and they shake their head and they say, this guy was so good in college. Why can't he play in the NFL level? And it really comes down to the playbook. These scouts they're grading guys out based on talent. In college, man, like a lot of the times it's like, hey, the play is I'm going to hold up a sign and you know what to do. I'm going to tell you to run to that hole and hit that hole, and you're talented enough to beat everyone out there because you're that good of a player. But when you get to the NFL, it's not that, man. It's, I'm going to walk up to the line. I'm going to have to know the play I'm running. I'm going to have to know what the line's doing, where they're shifting to. I'm going to have to know what to do when they're blitzing. I'm going to have to know what to do when they audible it as well. And I got to know, as I walk up there, if this guy steps up here and the other guy steps up here, where do I go? Who do I block? So, there's just so much that comes with it that when you see a first-round talent not play in the NFL, it's not because he's not good enough. It's because he can't pick up that playbook and be trusted on the NFL field. So that weeds a lot of guys out too. So overall, like if you can do everything right, not get in trouble, pass grades, stay healthy, and then learn the playbook, you're going to have a lot better chance at least to actually play at that next level. So I think a lot of how I got there was because I just did all the right things at the right times, and I knew my plays and I could be trusted as well. So special teams was huge. I had to play all 4 special teams. A lot of guys refused to play special teams in college because they just thought they were too good for it. So just tried to do everything I could to make sure that I had some kind of value, even if I wasn't stepping on the field as a fullback.
Another thing that people don't talk about as much is the transition from being an athlete your entire life to then boom, it's done, and then you have to like be a working professional. How was your transition with that? I know some people struggle with, I was an NFL player for X amount of years, and all of a sudden now I'm not labeled as an NFL player now. I'm labeled as a normal person. I'm just a normal guy walking in the streets. Did you have any troubles on that transition?
Man, a lot of guys do struggle for years trying to figure out what to do next. A lot of guys have enough money where they don't have to do anything, but you miss that grind every day. You miss that challenge. You miss that purpose. So a lot of teammates hit me up and are like, man, what are you doing? How'd you transition out? Luckily, my wife had started that business that I was talking about before, and I jumped into it, and I was waking up at 5 a.m. and working till 10 p.m. and I was just grinding it out. We were custom engraving out of our own house. So I knew that every minute I was engraving, I was making money. And so I just kept doing it. And, when you stay busy and when you have other goals, it's easy to kind of put your past behind you and move on.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good advice, I guess.
Yeah, that's great
It was
advice.
great insight into the NFL too, like the knowing the playbook.
Yeah,
I was the whole time you were talking, I was thinking like, am I an idiot? I couldn't pick up the playbook in high school at all.
You couldn't?
Was,
That was my thing, dude. I could tell you what everybody was doing. I was a left tackle. I could tell you what
I've hung out with a lot of athletes, professional athletes and stuff, and you can see it. Like football IQ is a very serious thing.
I was going to bring up because as you were saying that, all I could think about was Nikhil.
Don't say it.
Yeah, I don't want to say it. Yeah, he's close with him, but like he was so good in college, so good.
Oh, he's an Arizona guy too.
Yeah, he was running back, right?
No, he was a receiver.
Oh, receiver.
He was the
right
first
after me.
Patriots drafted him first round.
No, he's Arizona State.
He was Arizona State.
Yeah, Arizona State.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Which
Yeah, he was a
he went to Arizona
stud,
State,
dude. Yeah,
He was a Sun Devil.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was a beast.
he was so good, dude. Like, so we're like, why isn't he getting playing time? Why aren't they throwing the ball? And now I think that makes sense. Exactly what you're saying. Like this guy was head and shoulders like the best. I
He
mean,
was
dude,
huge.
his plays in college, I'm like, dude, this guy's going to be the next Randy Moss, And it makes perfect sense what you said.
Yeah, you can't
So
be
let's
trusted.
go.
Not in the right spot at the right
No,
time.
you couldn't
exactly.
be trusted with the playbook. Exactly. And Bill's
Yeah.
like, buddy, if I can't trust you, you're out. You're not playing. You're riding pine. So what is the future for Ice Shaker? Like, what's the next steps in business? Like, where do you want to take this thing? How far do you want to take it?
Yeah, man. We're always taking next steps. We've grown every year since Shark Tank. One really cool thing we have coming is all leagues, all teams for licensing for sports. So we'll come out with
Hell
full
yeah.
line of NFL bottles. Took me 6.5 years to get the NFL licensing. So we're doing it through a partner with Fanatics, and super excited to launch that later in this year. Hopefully this year. We'll see, man. Everything seems to take longer than normal, but tell people all the time, we've sold millions of bottles at this point. You could walk down the street from my own warehouse and ask 10 people what Ice Shaker is, and I'll be lucky if one person knows what we are. So I don't think we really need to bring in new products. I think we need to just keep digging deeper on what we currently have and just continue to do a great job with our customers that we currently have, but with all of our new ones, and just keep saturating the market that we're currently in. So that's kind of our game plan for now. We released a ton of new products this year. We released jugs. We have a speaker bottle. We did a sports bottle. We've done so many different products at this point. And really, when it comes down to it, our main products, our main seller still. That 26-ounce shaker bottle, that design is by far our top seller. It's what people know us for, and we got to continue just doing a great job of getting that product out there.
Are you doing a lot of stuff like influencer marketing stuff too, or just traditional paid ads like Facebook, Google, all that?
We don't do much Google. We do a lot of Facebook, Instagram. We do some influencer stuff. It's more higher commission based. Like I'd rather pay someone a high commission for actually selling the product instead of just paying someone big money up front to make
Right.
a video that doesn't sell anything for us.
Right.
We are able to really partner up and do some cool stuff with influencers because of the customization aspects. So we could put their logo on it. We can allow them to kind of create their own little shop on our website where they're selling their own custom products and making money on them and building their own brand without having to carry any inventory at all. So with the customization side of it, we just can do so many things that other brands can't do, and we could offer this to our influencers as well.
And are you guys doing like drop shipping style stuff, or is it coming out of?
We'll do that
Like
as well. Yeah, we'll do both.
Yeah.
We'll drop ship for them as well. Some people will buy bulk and send it out themselves, but different partners, like a bodybuilding.com will drop ship for. Sometimes we'll drop ship and they'll fulfill themselves. Just depends on how the companies want to do it. We're still small and agile, man. So people tell us all the time, you're the easiest company we've ever worked with. And that's why we just keep on growing as well.
It's amazing. Congratulations on the NFL licensing thing. That's
fucking
massive.
huge,
That's
yeah.
Yeah,
That's gonna
man.
be a
We have some
huge growth
first
spur for you guys.
prototypes that came out, and they're awesome. I'm rocking some of them myself because they're so cool looking.
yeah, hell yeah. That's
Yeah, I'm so excited. That's awesome.
Chris, what do you think was one of the biggest like key unlocks or like key hires? Because like there's always a point where it comes where you're like, shit, I can't do everything by myself, right? I need this one person to elevate. Did you have like a key hire that was like, okay, that was a unlock for us?
Yeah, I have three main guys right now that run kind of the three branches for us. So marketing, operations, and then sales. So that's kind of the three that I report to and talk to all day, every day. So all three of them play a massive role, and then they also all run their own divisions as well. So those three are huge. My ultimate unlock was probably my dad's advice of kind of budget, forecast, game plan. What are you going to make this year? My dad could tell you right now before the year even starts next year how much he's going to make next year, and come really close to it because he's been in business for 30 years. He's going to put a full projection down on paper and break it down, and he's going to know exactly how much margin he's making and how many employees he has and what kind of risks he's taking, and he's going to pretty much tell me what he's going to make next year before it even happens. So that was one thing that he showed me how to do with my business, and then it really helped me also segment it into different divisions in my own company. It was kind of an unlock when he was like, hey, let's break this down into 4 pillars for your company. How much does your sales team make for you? And then, how much does corporate make for you? And then, the biggest one for me was how much does your warehouse and operations lose? And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, that's just, what is that? Like, what are you going to do with that? He's like, well, the whole idea of that is to minimize costs. These are profit centers. These are loss centers. How do you maximize the profit? How do you minimize the loss center? And break them down and split them apart. And, kind of took my business and said, laser engraving is completely separate. How much are you making on it? I had no clue at the time. I had no clue that we were profiting a lot more off these bigger wholesale accounts than we were B2C, because in my mind, we were selling so much more B2C that it looked like a more, favorable thing to go after. So that was about 3 years into the company. We started really breaking it down, budget, forecast, game plan. And from that point on, that year we 3x'd our profit. So just a really big unlock for us. And the last thing that he taught me was just incentivizing each and every employee as a team. That was the big thing that he kept emphasizing to me was, this is just like, if you want it to be just like a locker room, everyone has to have goals that help each other win together as a team. So we started implementing team goals instead of individual goals. And when we did, it was absolutely incredible. The sales team started working with the marketing team and started working with the operations team as well to really maximize everything that we were doing. Previously, the culture in the company was, a sales guy would come in, he'd put this big order in. The order, might not be favorable at all to operations. In fact, it was probably going to suck. They had to change out lids. Some bottles were sold out. The operations team had to scramble and fix all these things with the order and do whatever they could to then also rush it out the door because, the sales rep promised 2-day shipping or whatever it was. And so it was just a complete disaster. And, this big order would come in, everyone would be pissed. We changed it. We incentivized everything as a team. And after that, big orders would come in and literally everyone would be excited. They would be hitting each other up and celebrating. And it's just such a different feel.
That's sick. What do you mean by team goals? Like just marks?
Sales? Basically,
total.
If we got sales and the warehouse guys are incentivized.
Like
incentivized.
Bonuses?
Yeah. So, I mean, the easiest example I tell people is, our operations team, for instance. So we're doing, thousands of bottles a week that we're sending out of our warehouse. A lot of them are customized as well. So in the past, if someone made a mistake, it would just be like, man, what are you doing? Let's write this guy up. He needs to pay better attention. Let's bring him to the office and, kind of give him a warning. After 3 times, my team would come to me and say, man, this is his 3rd strike. Do you want to fire him? And I'm like, well, not really, man. It took me 3 months to train this guy. He's actually a great employee, but sometimes he's not paying attention. So, let's figure out something different. So we put this goal in, team goal. It's a team pot, actually, where each bottle that goes out the door, we assign a value to it. I think we do 10 or 12 cents, something like that. It's a pot for all the employees that are part of the operations. At the end of the month, if there's mistakes, the mistakes come out of the pot. So if a big mistake comes in, say they mess up 100 bottles, the cost of that mistake comes out of that pot. So it might completely take away the entire pot for the month if they make a big mistake. So all 9 employees that we currently have doing operations would lose all that extra money that they would have got that month because one person made a mistake and they didn't check the order. So instead of writing them up, people would now lose this extra bonus that they could have got. And it started holding people accountable as a team. The other 8 would get pissed because they just lost, a decent chunk of money that would have been in their pocket. And that person that makes the mistake, it's kind of like on the NFL field, man. Like, you drop a pass and you could have scored a touchdown. you feel terrible. You're going to pay attention. You're going to work harder. You're going to study the plays. You're going to make sure you do it right. The same thing started happening with my team as well. And after that, we had such minimum amount of mistakes that even though we were paying everybody more money, we were actually saving money in the long run, and our employees were making more money. So the people that kept making mistakes, they eventually just quit. They kind of felt the pressure from the other employees. Not like our employees were hounding them or like getting after them, but it's kind of like, a team. You drop that pass, your teammates say, hey, better luck next time, don't worry about it kind of thing, but you still worry about it. You made a mistake. You let the team down. And keep doing that. Eventually you're like, man, maybe this just isn't for me. And these people step down and walk away. So it completely changed the culture of our company. And like at times I walk in now and it's like, you just feel like you're walking back into that locker room with a bunch of people that are all there for the same reason, and that's to win.
Dude, that's incredible. I love that so much.
That's awesome. That's an unlock for us.
I wrote down I have ideas running through my head. We absolutely are going to take something away from that.
So that's two big takeaways, right? So we got forecast, budget, and game plan, right?
That's all from football.
Yeah, exactly. That goes back to your point, right? Like
team culture,
right?
It's literally it's a team sport,
right? So you get that, and then also you have the team incentives. Those are two great takeaways.
I think one of the coolest things about business and talking to like other entrepreneurs, whether it's like in our personal lives or through this podcast, is a lot of the baseline foundation, the shit that Dad's been telling us our whole lives, is the same. From an ice shaker bottle to meals to this to that, like a lot of the foundational components are the same. Mm-hmm. In all good businesses.
Yeah, businesses, right? Exactly. Like you can apply that
to anything.
You can apply what he just taught us here into any one of our businesses, and any listeners who have a business could apply that same principle,
right? Pretty
much to anything. Right. Great conversation today with Chris Gronkowski. I mean, we learned a shitload. That unlocked there at the end. We're going to implement those things right away. Ton of respect for Chris and his family and everything that they're doing. They're not just like the jocks that they think about. They're all really smart people, great business minds. I hope you learned a lot from this episode, and we will see you next time.